Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Oh my goodness. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from a very long, productive, I'm sure, weekend for everybody. We got a short week this week, but we do have a lot of basketball to get to. Did you guys have a good weekend?
I did.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's how we share here.
So we
got some hoops to talk about from last night. We also have some hoops tonight we'll talk about as well at some point. But Thunder Wolves, this one was fun. We finally got a close game in this one. SGA, Jalen Williams lead their team to a 3-1 series lead. Anthony Edwards did finish with 16. Gilgeous-alexander Walker had 23 points. He was 5 of 8 from 3. Do you know they were cousins? Minnesota did finish this with 23 turnovers. But you know what? A lot has been made. Jalen Williams in these playoffs. Will he, won't he? He's becoming himself, all of that. But then last night happened, and this has to be the best game he's played.
Yeah, it has to be. And he's been doing this all season long, where as good as SGA is, he has been kind of that second closer. When SGA is having an off night, when he's having a hot hand, they know to get him the ball in the right spots. And he can do it in so many different ways, right? He's kind of like a bigger SGA where he can stop on a dime. He gets to his mid-range, get to the basket, gets to the foul line. When he becomes a more 40-45% three-point shooter, this kid's game is sky is the limit because he does it all. He defends. Obviously, he was on the all-defensive team. He's on all-NBA. He's an all-star. He's basically got every accolade you could possibly get, and this kid is going to continue to get better. Now you see him in the biggest moments of the season, thriving, having his best game ever. That's a huge sign going forward.
That's a problem, Lou, because there were moments last night they just weren't missing. I mean, as this thing winds down, OKC was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what you want to see out of your star guys. You want to see the best two players on your team take and make big shots and not afraid of the moment. That's what I love about SGA. That's what I love about Jalen. These guys, they understand the moment. They understand the assignment. They know that with these teams left, this is the opportunity for you to go get a ring, and they're not putting that opportunity in nobody else's hands. They're going to go out there. They're going to make the shots. Jalen Williams is going to take the marquee matchups. This thing is going to go and it's going to flow based on the play of these two guys, and that's what I love about this duo of two guys. They just understand the moment right now, and they're not putting it in anybody else's hands.
And think about this is like the knock on them was their youth, right? Their inexperience. This exact situation in this game is how you build and earn that trust and how you get that confidence as a young team that's trying to get over that hump and to win their first championship. And they handled this situations beautifully. The end of game, the fouling when up 3. I know we always go at it, but when Minnesota doesn't have the timeout and they have to go the full length of the court, they foul and they execute down the stretch perfectly. They don't panic. They get the best possible shot. They only had one. I think SGA had the one turnover when they were up 5. Was kind of their only mistake, and in a crazy environment, pressure-packed situation. So this is the type of game that challenges them, and they're battle-tested. And as a young team, you can't ask for a better opportunity on the road and to go and finish the deal. This was super impressive.
Also, the fact that they lost the game before this by 42 points. I mean, I don't know if it's because they're young and they can just get it out of their brains quicker. Is that a sign of greatness for this team?
I think they laid an egg. They knew it, and they just kept pushing forward, right? Like a loss is a loss. Whether it's a 1-point loss or a 40-point loss, it is what it is. And I just said it. They understand the moment. They understand the assignment. Listen, it's the first of 4 games, so we can't overreact to it being a big loss. Let's go back and get this thing back on track. And again, you come out, you got one of your stars that takes 30 shots. Your other star takes 24 shots. If we're going to lose this basketball game, it's going to be on the shoulders of us. We're not going to put that responsibility on anybody else. And I think Minnesota needs a dose of that. Their star guys got to listen. We're going to live and die with the way that we play and what we put on the table, and everybody else has to follow. So with them guys, with those two guys, knowing that was the situation, losing that game 3, coming back and responding like this in game 4, that just showed you how mature they are and how much of in the moment that they are right now.
And I know last week we weren't saying that this is a big 3, but Chet Holmgren was unbelievable.
We call it a trio.
And I think it's because SGA, how
it's starting
good.
to happen too. Now I'm starting to see the conversation about the big 3.
And that's not even a knock on Chet or Jalen. It's because SGA has kind of separated himself as an MVP, as an All-NBA type player. But these two dudes do everything as well. And Chet is so good defensively and altering shots. They all defend. They all play make. They can all score. And it is crazy to think how young they are. And now they're on the way to their first championship run, and all three of them are helping in so many different ways. They impact winning, and they know their roles, and there's no ego. They get along so well. So this is becoming a big three that we're going to see for a really long time.
I know. Maybe we're just we've ingrained in our minds what a big three is supposed to look like. It's just a trio.
But also, it's organic. It's all drafted, homegrown, no signing, no
post-game interviews.
No pairing up.
I think that's the biggest part.
Yeah.
The biggest part is all of these guys are homegrown. It's not like this team was put together through trade or through anything like that. Like, you drafted these guys, and these guys now, it's coming into fruition what you always thought that they would be and what they could accomplish together. And I think that's one of the reasons why we don't really label them necessarily as a big three. But the way that these guys are playing, the production that they're putting up, this is a duo. This is a trio that you're going to have to deal with for years and years to come if these guys continue to do what they're doing.
Yeah, it's like if you go and package one of them with some assets and go bring in a Giannis or KD, that's now a big three. But they don't need to do that. This big three is good enough. They're young enough, and they're going to continue to get better and better with just the relationship they have and the chemistry. It's unbelievable what they do. And again, the fact that they're so young and they defend is...
They do everything.
It probably would be one of those things that you'll understand in hindsight. Like, think about it. When it was Russell, KD, James coming off the bench, those guys were a duo. But now you look back, you could say, well, damn, when James Harden was coming off the bench, at that time, he was a Sixth Man of the Year candidate. you know, so over time, when you see what guys can accomplish separately, you understand what they are together.
Also, I think when you trade for SGA, you don't know 100% that you have no idea this is what's coming. You just can't. You could be like optimistic and think this kid's got something.
I forgot that he wasn't drafted there. Like,
because he feels like
he's in so well. I forgot that I played with him first. But you know, again, he's the one guy that came over in trade and everything else followed.
But that was before he was who he is.
Yeah, he wasn't a superstar. By the way, I always laugh too because this is the actual process that other teams have made mottos out of, right? Like, this was a process that OKC's been doing, love it or don't, and it has actually worked. Let's talk some Ant. Not great. 13 field goal attempts. That's his second, tied for his second fewest in a playoff game. He had 2 in the first half. Here he is after this game.
I don't look at it like I struggled or he struggled. They had a good game plan, making us get off the ball. Especially for me, man, they was super in the gaps. I made the right play all night, so I don't really look at it like I struggled. I didn't get enough shots to say I struggled, so that might be how you guys look at it. But yeah, I didn't struggle at all. It's just I made the right play.
Okay, all right. Why are you giggling?
Well, it's just crazy because clearly he's frustrated and clearly he's struggled, right? He's been struggling from the three-point line all season long, or all series long, and that has credit to the Oklahoma City Thunder defense. And they force you into so many turnovers. They speed you up. They get in gaps. And this is what he's talking about where he's saying he didn't struggle. They have a great game plan for me. Look how they collapse on him. They make him kick. So he is kind of right where he's making the right play. That is the right basketball play when he draws 2 guys, 3 guys, and kicks it out to a shooter. Make or miss a shot, that is the right play. That's what he has to continue to do. Now, on the flip side, OKC, they have to keep doing this. They have to keep clogging the paint. They have to keep shooting the gap, and they have to keep making this impossible for him because it's working. They're up 3-1. He's frustrating. His three-point shot's not going in right now, and he's due for a big game. I think he's going to erupt in the next game, and he's going to start making some shots, but 2 shots in the first half, 13 in the game.
Quiet.
I don't care how they're guarding me. That is not enough for you need your star to be a star, and he's not, and Julius Randle's also struggled big time.
He didn't struggle. I agree with him there. But that's the problem. We need you to force the action right now. You have to force the action. Like, we can't have a first half where you only get 2 shots. And I was having this conversation yesterday. Listen, I'm a star player, or I'm one of the guys that you expect to go get a bucket. I'm getting 2 or 3 attempts on accident. I'm gonna fill it out. Like, my first shot, I just want to see what's going on. I'm gonna attack the rim. I want to see what's happening early on in this game. I want to bait the defense in to show me what is the game plan. You know, and I think Finch can help him here. Everything that we see, every clip, he's having to create. He has the ball in his hands. He's coming off a pick and roll where he's gonna play in crowds. Make it easy for him. Catch it in the mid post. Go dribble handoff. Put them in a post where they have to collapse on them. That way you can make the right plays, like he's saying. But right now you're trying to do everything off the dribble. That's gonna be a hard and that's gonna be an exhausting way to play, especially with all of the wing defenders that OKC have in the different looks. They can put Dort on you. They can put Jalen on you. They can put even SGA on you. They got Caruso coming off the bench. Isaiah Joe. It's 5 guys I just named without thinking that they can keep these matchups on you that's going to make it difficult. So if you're constantly trying to create offense off the dribble from half court in a pick and roll, you're going to struggle. You're going to see crowds. They got to find a way to make this game easier for him where he can be efficient. But having 2 attempts in the first half, 13 to end the game, look, these guys just showed you 24 and 30 shots. We're going to put it up. And you got to have that. Him, Julius Randle, they got to at least have 20 attempts a pop. And again, to start the game, even if I'm forcing 1 or 2 up, I'm going to force your hand to show me what is the game plan. And they got to find ways to get him off the basketball where he can be efficient, where he doesn't have to play in crowds. And if you're going to make the right play, at least make it from 15 feet from the basket where guys can even attack off the rim or shoot jump shots. But not being aggressive, yes, you didn't struggle, but you also didn't force the action either.
And at this point, down 3-1, they got to be okay with him going 8 for 25. Like, you have to. He's what got you there, right? And again, they've been such a good defensive, tough team. They've gotten big games from Alexander Walker. They've gotten big games from McDaniels. They've been the most consistent. It's not enough, especially when Julius Randle is struggling. Anthony Edwards has to take 20 to 25 to 30 shots. That is okay. I don't care if they're bad. I don't care if they're step backs. I don't care if it's 2-on-1 floaters in the lane. Like, you live with that if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, down 3-1, going to OKC. It's going to be insane there. You saw last night when they landed at 3 a.m. Like, it was chaos at the airport.
That was kind of cool, actually.
You were going into an elimination game with your season on the line. I'm living with Anthony Edwards taking 30 shots game 5.
Well, I'm wondering, too, how much of that is what he's doing and then the Julius Randle of it all. This is kind of what I think people were worried about, is Julius Randle coming back down to earth. 2 of 11 in game 2, 1 of 7 last night. You can't have both these guys playing like that, Lou. This is like an absolute recipe for disaster.
No, you can't. And their season is about to come to a close. And, you know, I'm not going to bail these guys out and blame it on youth or anything. Now, I do feel like these guys are so great, we forget how young they are and the experiences that they've had in the playoffs. But it's no excuse when it comes down to this. Julius Randle got to play better. Like, that's what they brought you over here for. They brought you over here to be a part of a duo, to be the second best player on this basketball team, to be a stress reliever for Ant Edwards. So if Ant is going to struggle, who's the next guy you're going to look at? And if he's going to struggle, you can't rely on your bench to win you games. I don't care. Naz Reid, former sixth man of the year, DiVincenzo, Alexander Walker, all of those guys are playing well, but that's not their job to win you basketball games. They are supporting cast. They need you 2 guys. This is a 2-point game. And you have a guy that's 1 for 7, your other superstars 5 for 13. If they just have 1 good quarter of basketball, we're having a completely different conversation. And that's going to be a hard pill to swallow for them in the offseason, knowing that they were so close to these opportunities to get this thing 2-2 by them just playing decent and not being passive. If they play that way, we're having a completely different conversation. But again, only 1 for 7 from the field. I got to live with you having at least 20 attempts. And if it don't go your way, then cool. But just 7 attempts for the game, unacceptable.
And this is with McDaniels having 22. This is with Alexander Walker having 23 and Dante DiVincenzo having 21. So this is with the role players doing what they do. Naz Reid had double figures as well. This is where, as a Timberwolves fan, it's hard to not look at that Cat trade.
It's tough.
Be like, okay, damn, this is why it hurts us, because Cat is possibly a number 1 option most places, and he can carry the load when Anthony Edwards is getting guarded like this and getting forced, and they're jumping him and taking the ball out of his hands. That is where they're getting a little bit exposed now. And Julius Randle, as good as he's been super inconsistent. It reminds me of the Jalen Green series where, like, he's up, he's down, he goes 1 for 7, he goes 3 for 12. You can't do that when you are brought here, especially for a guy as talented as Karl Anthony Towns. You're always going to get compared to that. And offensively, it's not close of the players they are. Now, he's shown flashes. He's shown brilliance. He was unbelievable against the Lakers. He was unbelievable against the Warriors. Like, he's just now, and I don't know if it's them presenting him challenges with their length, with their switching, putting a smaller guy like Caruso on him has kind of thrown him off. But like Lou said, regardless, 7 shots is not enough for him, and 13 shots is not enough for Anthony Edwards. I don't care how they're being guarded. You have to get more attempts up.
Like, and 1 maybe, but both.
But listen, give OKC credit, because on the other end, they're making him guard too. Jalen Williams is his matchup. He's having to guard. His head is probably spinning, trying to figure out where do I fit in this series. But again, the best version of Julius Randle is when he's putting his head down, when he's attacking that rim, when he's using his size as an advantage, and then he uses that to open up the 3-point line for himself. If he's going to play vice versa, where if he has to make shots to be effective in this series, they can go ahead and pack it up.
It's shocking to me that both guys do this. Look, this was the first close game we've gotten in this series, and it was a really, really fun playoff game until the end. In the final 15 seconds of this bad boy, there were 10 free throws shot. So, and by the way, a lot of talk immediately after this game ended last night into the morning about the NBA having to figure out a way to ban fouling up 3 in the last minute of a game. It definitely turns it from a really fun, exciting sporting event to meh. And Lou, this is a conversation you guys have had numerous times. Last night was just sort of the most drawn-out version that we've seen so far. Do you stand by? Like, where are you on this? Okay, yep, I hate it.
I hate it. I really do. I would like the NBA to take a look at it and maybe put a limit on it.
Okay.
I understand there's a game inside of a game, and it's a game of inches, and anything could happen. But when you shoot 10 free throws in less than 12 seconds of a game, like, why do you have an all-defensive team if you're not willing to go out there and put your best defensive team out there and try to get you a stop for the game? And I'm also a big fan of never giving away anything. I'm not going to donate you 2 free throws and then put pressure on myself to go win a basketball game by me missing free throws. At this point, the data is going to show you it goes both ways. This works. It doesn't work. None of these things are 100%, but what we all can agree on, it affects the flow of the game. It affects the ending of games. And you know, it's just... It's anticlimactic, for lack of a better word. You know, you just have these foul, and then it's immediate. Then you don't have timeouts. Then you got timeouts. 10 seconds of a game takes damn near 5 to 10 minutes. I hate it. I would like the NBA to look at it and possibly put a limit on it. Maybe the same way you can do the Hack-a-Shack. You can only do it up until the last 2 minutes of a game. Yeah, like let's look into that and let's get that excitement back. Like, are game winners not a part of the game anymore? Are getting stops not a part of the game anymore? We got to get back to the essence of this thing. So much data is in the game, and it messes up the flow of the game. It messes up the vibe. It messes up the excitement. I wish they would take a look at it.
It's tough. It's tough to watch, and I'm on the opposite side of Lou.
I know
I'm fouling up 3 every single time. I am extending the game. I am not letting a lucky half, especially when they got to go full court.
Especially these days.
I'm not allowing luck to come into play with a whole full court shot. It's funny. I have an ongoing joke with my wife where I'm like, come on, there's only 2 minutes left in the game. Like, I'll be right there. And these 2 minutes now, I can't even do that anymore because now she knows it takes 20, 30 minutes. So it is dreadful, and it takes too long. But as a coach and as a player, that is the best strategy analytically wise to win the ball game. So again, it worked last night. It hasn't worked in certain scenarios this season, but it is wildly long. And then they throw in a challenge here, and then a challenge.
Well, then you got the fan catching the ball and how much time.
And then it's the whole review. Even like college basketball is a nightmare. You review every play under 2 minutes.
We're starting to foul with like 20 seconds to go.
Yeah,
we're not even doing this with like a short.
And they got a foul to give too on both sides.
Yeah, that's the problem for me. We just start this thing way too early, and it's not even basketball related. Like last night, as soon as Minnesota gets the ball in, OKC is fouling them. I'm like, he didn't take a dribble. He didn't turn his back. He didn't force the action. He didn't try to even get a shot attempt off. We don't even allow these things to play out. And then now you're going tit for tat. And again, we're having different conversations every single game if a guy misses a free throw. Imagine if SGA smoked one of these last night, right? Gave them an opportunity. So again, I don't want to be in a position to ever put pressure on myself when I've done a good enough job to win a basketball game already.
Also, there were some upset gamblers with the 2.5 spread last night with this foul, and that smoked a lot of money. Not good.
I was happy we had a close game, but that final minute was just excruciating. The Timberwolves turnover situation, I'll be curious to see what you guys think. You know, Chandler, how you fix it. Like, Mike Conley hasn't been great. Dante did get a bunch of those minutes, but they had 23 last night, which is one shy of their season high. I know it's like you're desperate now. So what do you do? How do you tweak this?
Well, I think first of all, you credit their defense. They've been doing this all season long. They force your hand. They speed you up. They pressure you 94 feet. They mix up different coverages too, where they're blitzing you half the time. They're never really playing you soft, going under. They are making you beat them. They are making you make the right play every single time, and they haven't been doing it. And so I think there are different sets they can run. Mike Conley, I think, needs to play more than 19 minutes. They need that that comfort guy out there to kind of get them in their sets and get their offense. Maybe letting him handle a little bit more than Anthony Edwards handling, trying to create everything on his own. It's exhausting, but again, I think the Timberwolves, they could be doing a lot of things differently, but the Oklahoma City defense is so stifling. They just force you up, and they do it at such a high rate, and then they're so good scoring in transition. So it is part of their offense is being such a good defensive team.
Well, call a spade a spade. 40% of these turnovers are Ant and Julius. That's 40% of those turnovers. So again, you have to find a way to take the ball out of their hands, make it easier for them on the offensive end to be efficient, to make plays for you. If you have these guys bringing the ball up off of rebounds, or Ant-Man, he gets a lot of his actions out of pick and rolls with Rudy Gobert at the top of the key, or the angle actions. Figure out a way where you can dribble handoff to him going into a pick and roll where now he's going downhill. Now he can be more effective with the basketball opposed to trying to create everything for him, and you can possibly make this a different thing. And the same thing for Randall. He's coming down, getting a rebound, trying to be the point forward.
Nope.
These guys are too good in the passing lanes. This is a defensive team. You can't really play with the basketball in front of them. They're going to be in passing lanes. They're going to reach. They're going to do everything they can to try to get that basketball from you. And they score off a lot of their turnovers as well. That's going to be problematic for you if you continue to do that. You got to find easier and more effective ways for these guys to handle the basketball in the half court.
We're going to take a quick break. The Knicks, they live another day. We're going to take a look at that game.
Don't be so excited, dude.
As well. That's professionalism. We'll be right back.
Running back, yeah. Run it up, run it.
Well, this happened. It looked like Pacers were on an easy cruise to another victory, but no. Karl Anthony Towns, that man right there, decides to wake up in the fourth.
Fight back, Cat.
24 points, 15 rebounds. 20 of those points, by the way, did come in that fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson finished with 23. This was an insane game because it really was a nice, slow, easy Pacers victory. It looked like that's where we were headed. And then here we are, the Knicks. Third time in this postseason to come back from 20 points down, which is insane to me. It's the first time that's happened. Lou, I don't even know what to say anymore. These getting down 20 and having to come back, it's exhausting. It makes for fun, but
can't
it's
be part of the plan.
Yeah.
It can't be part of the plan.
I think early on, Indiana found success in getting early baskets in a transition. That's who they are. They're a fast break basketball team. They like to score in under 6 seconds, and they had a lot of success doing that in the first half. I think second half they got stagnant offensively, and they allowed the New York Knicks to get back in the game based on that. And Cat was a big part of that. Cat going off for 20 in the fourth quarter. Of his 24 points. They needed somebody to step up and beat it, especially with those guys being in foul trouble, looking like they were going to go down 3-0. But they didn't stop playing. And you got to give these guys credit. They got a lot of different things from a lot of different guys. OG went 4 for 6 from the three-point line. That was something that they needed. But the way that Cat played, he attacked the rim. He was at the three. He put the ball on the floor. Did everything that they needed for them to have an opportunity to win the game. A big fourth quarter, 20. But I think Indiana did them some favors by getting stagnant on the offensive end, not figuring out where they could score the basketball. Siakam was great in the mid-post, but other than that, they didn't get a lot offensively, and this is a game that I feel like they would consider that they dropped, especially having an opportunity to go up 3-0 on their home floor, being up 20, big opportunity that was missed.
Yeah, thinking about being down 2-0 on the road, your best player gets his 5th foul. They have every excuse to pack this in.
And the other guy has 4 points.
Every excuse to pack this in. Like Lou said, Karl Anthony Towns, Minnesota fans are going nuts right now watching these highlights because he has 20 of his 24 points. And the way he did it, just with his getting to the rim, with his step back 3 was crazy, drawing fouls, getting to the free throw line.
He did
just
everything.
Exposing mismatches. And he's always been this good. This is why I think the frustration of why did we trade this guy where he fits. I mean, look, I watch your head.
It's like a resume reel.
He gave us a little bit
Don't
of
do the faces.
That's the whole bag. That's the whole bag.
He showed us why he is an elite, talented offensive scorer. He showed why that people were confused at this trade initially because he fits so well with Ant and Rudy. But this is what he does. This is what he was brought here to do. And with their best player out, Jalen Brunson out, he stepped up big time on the road and made play after play. And they got stops. And the Pacers were 5 of 25 from 3. They shot 20% from 3. So it's crazy that they even just got that lead. But like Lou said, they went away from what they were doing. They stopped getting early baskets. They slowed down their offense. That's not who the Pacers are. They play fast. They play a lot of pick and roll. And they make a lot of threes. They didn't do either of that once they got the lead.
The Cat thing is crazy because he was on his way to getting roasted. Like, that was such a bad 3 quarters, and then he just blossomed and became a superstar right there in the fourth. I'm wondering, though, by the way, the plus 12 with Jalen Brunson on the bench. This is the second time in these playoffs where he's been in foul trouble, he's been on the bench, and you expect the Knicks to sort of suffer when he's on the bench. That's not what's been happening, as a matter of fact. Charles Barkley said he needs to get off the ball more for the Knicks to be successful. Hot take, Chandler.
And I think he's right. I think it's exhausting, like Anthony Edwards was talking about in that series. When you are just so ball dominant, it lets the defense set up. It kind of shows your cards. And I think, again, they have guards off the bench that they finally played. They played DeLon Wright, Deuce McBride. Let them kind of initiate the offense and have Jalen Brunson kind of come off these staggers, these pin downs, kind of creating the second side pick and roll action where there's no nail help, where there's no blow guy, and let him kind of pick you apart and get in the paint. He's so good at the opposite, where he has the ball, his usage rate is so high, but they have a lot of guys, and credit to Tibbs. He actually played DeLon Wright 13 minutes. He played Shamet 11 minutes. Like, this is what this team can be more complete than what we've seen. And again, as good as Jalen Brunson is on the ball, they have these setup guys to let him do other things and play off the ball. Especially as get to the weak side. You know, second action, always talking about you go this side, go to the other side. They never do that. It's always just Jalen Brunson get in the paint and let him create. Now, Sunday night, they had the opportunity to do both, and it worked.
I'm wondering, Lou, you know, obviously when you talk about Tibbs, there are certain things that we just keep talking about, and one of them is the fact that he doesn't use the bench really much at all, and then now he finally does. I live in a no-regrets life. I don't think we should look back and think what he should have done, but the fact that he did do this and it seemingly worked, do we expect to see more?
You understand that he had to.
He had
to because Jalen Brunson being in foul trouble. But again, it worked out. You know, you found a guy in DeLon Wright that can steady the offense for you. Shamet made a big shot. He only had 2 attempts, but he made one of them, and that's what you need him to do. If he's going to be on the floor, you got to be a tool. You got to be an asset for the team. And we know that Landry Shamet can shoot the ball. I'm curious to know what he's doing with Cameron Payne. I thought that Cam could be one of those guys that can kind of equalize TJ McConnell. They kind of play the same brand of basketball. They're energy guys. They're there to junk up the game. They're there to make open shots, make it difficult on the defensive end. But TJ McConnell has been winning that matchup, you know, so he went in a different direction. But again, if Tibbs can do this all over again, I'm willing to bet that DeLon Wright doesn't play 13 minutes tonight. I'm willing to bet that Shamet doesn't play 11 minutes tonight.
Especially if Brunson's not in foul trouble.
Especially if he's not in foul trouble. And back to the Brunson point, I do agree with Charles. He's bringing the ball up. He's going ISO first. Then he's coming off a pick and roll. If that doesn't work, now he's backing the guy down. You're burning out the whole shot clock. And again, if your offense is going to get stacked, if Cat doesn't have the fourth quarter that he had, again, we're having a completely different conversation. I love the fact that basketball is a game of inches, and we can talk basketball from moment to moment. But he has to find ways to get easier baskets. He has to find ways to be effective in the mid-range, in the post-up, without it being so time-dominant in this game, especially with a team that loves running out on your misses.
Can we talk Pacers for a second? Because this was a bit of the taste of their own medicine. I think we've gotten so used to them with the drama, the fact that they were the ones that blew this big lead and missed out really on a huge opportunity to be up 3-0 in the series. By the way, they've lost Game 3 in every series this postseason, which is interesting. And obviously it has not done them too poorly, because here we are. But will this haunt them, Chandler?
I don't know if it'll haunt them. I think obviously they're going to learn, and they did a lot of things well and good enough to win this game. They were up literally 20 points. Like they played well enough to do this. They just have to sustain that. They have to continue to get stops and do what they do. Do not fix what's not broken, right? They keep playing fast, keep playing pick and roll, continue to let Siakam do what he does in the post, continue to let HALIBURTON kind of dissect the defense, play pick and roll, get downhill, and let these other guys that make shots that have been making shots. Neesmith's been great. You know, Shepard's been getting more minutes. So their role players have been doing everything. Toppin and McConnell have been great off the bench. So, again, could it haunt them if they go and lose the Game 4 now and every road team has won? So it could possibly haunt them, and you're going to look back to this where, man, we were up 20 and had a chance to close it out in a sweep. No one predicted that, but I think they'll learn from this. I think obviously they'll be better because they won this game for 35 to 48 minutes. They just have to find a way to close it, and the Knicks are really good at not letting the team close it.
Yeah,
really
this
are.
can go so many different ways, right? Like we'll determine tonight whether this is going to be a dream or a nightmare. Because if they go up 3-1 tonight, they're going to say, "Damn, we could have had this thing over with. We had a great opportunity to win Game 3." If the Knicks win tonight, now you're looking at a tied series going back home, and you're like, we could have put this thing out of reach. We could have gave ourselves some breathing room. Now we got a brand new series that's going to go 3 games, and we're going to have to win out from there. So this thing can go a lot of different ways. But right now, I'm going to say yes because, again, you had an opportunity to go up 3-0. You've had the momentum this entire series, the way that you've been playing. You take 2 games on their home court. You drop 1 on yours. Even if you win this game tonight, you put yourself in a great, great position, but you still can look back and say, I could have got this thing over with.
You could have avoided going back to New York in the Garden.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a whole thing.
Absolutely.
Also, these coaches are coaching. They're switching up the rotation.
Yeah.
They're switching up starting lineups. Tibbs, Carlisle's going with Bradley now instead of Bryant. Like,
by the way, do you like the starting lineup switcheroo?
You know what? I don't hate it. I think what you just want to see is you want to see adjustments. You want to see coaches make in-game changes that help the team. This clearly provided some sort of spark. This
Hard off the bench is like energy.
I like. Listen, 9 rebounds off the bench. Like his impact, it never jumps off. It never jumps off the board. But like when he does these things, he had a big offensive. He had a big offensive rebound where he was in there mixing it up, threw it out the cat for a big 3-pointer. That's what you need from a guy. So especially if you don't need him to score in that starting lineup, let's get some size. Let's get Mitchell Robinson in there to give us a size, give us a different look, and let him be the energy guy coming off the bench. I like that adjustment. Let's see if it pay off for them again.
And you're not going to lose a guy like Josh Hart. He's still going to play his minutes. He's still played 34 minutes. He's still going to do what he does, whether he's in the starting lineup or not. He's probably going to be in the game in the closing lineup. So you're not going to lose a guy like that.
By the way, the social media that Josh Hart would jump into a volcano if it meant he could get the offensive rebound. Like there have been some fun on social media because he's insane. He throws his body everywhere. He's on the ground half the time. It's crazy to watch. All right, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, the All-NBA teams were released. We will dissect that next.
Run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, yeah.
Take a look at some awards, shall we? The All-NBA first team announced. There it is. SGA, Jokic, Antetokounmpo, Tatum, and Mitchell. SGA, Jokic, Giannis, Tatum, all unanimous. You got the first team right, Chandler, by the way. I don't know if you're surprised for that. But, Lou, you had LeBron on first team instead of Donovan Mitchell. So what'd you think? You good?
Yeah, I think that was pretty solid. I had LeBron based on timing. At the time that I did that, I thought he was playing really good basketball. I thought he was the best player on the Lakers. He was the reason for a lot of the success that they was having. And it was also legacy, right? Like if LeBron is in the conversation, if he's close by, I felt like he would probably get that nod over Donovan Mitchell. And so I went against popular belief, and I went with LeBron. But I like where the first team is.
Yeah, I think the standings being so close in the West is the only thing that kind of kept LeBron out of that. You know what I mean? Like 3-8.
That seems unfair, though, doesn't it?
If they were a stamped, guaranteed 3 or 2 seed in the West.
But at that time, they were 3 at the time that I put that vote.
But also Donovan Mitchell, the historic start that the Cavs had. They were talking about breaking the record from the team of when LeBron was there. So I feel like these awards, they usually they treat winning, which is weird because when we get the second team, that's not what they did. But the first team, I think Donovan Mitchell, he was the best player on the best team all year long. Besides the Oklahoma City Thunder, they were the best team in the Eastern Conference, so I think he deserved it.
My pet peeve with all these awards, honestly, we live in a society of just really, really short attention spans. Like, just do this right when the season ends. Just nobody remembers anything past yesterday, so it's kind of silly. But all right, let's do the second team, shall we? This is fun. This is a fun list to look at. You got Jalen Brunson, you got Steph, you got Ant. There's your LeBron and Evan Mobley, Chandler.
There's one glaring guy that got smoked out of this, and it's Cade Cunningham. He averaged, I think more points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks than Steph Curry, and I think he deserves it more than three or four of those guys. I think the year he had is unbelievable, and again, he's still got third team. He's still got a huge bonus there, which I would love to talk about later too, but I think he's the one that was left off here. But
you both had Cade too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like that. Okay.
Yeah. I'm agreeing with you. I think Cade is one of those guys. I feel like Sengun should have been in the conversation as well for either second or third team based on the year that they were having. But Cade for sure. I think this is highway robbery. They had to find somewhere for Cade to be in this second group. I thought he deserved it. thought he had a better year than Steph overall. But again, this comes down to legacy stuff, right? And so you have those conversations. That's why I gave LeBron the nod, because of legacy, because of, you know, what these guys have been able to do over the course of their career. But I think Cade Cunningham was also one of those guys that should have been on his second team.
And even Evan Mobley, like, listen, he had a great year, and the jump he made was super impressive. Statistically, there's just no way he should be on second team over Cade Cunningham.
I find it interesting that when we did this back in the day, you both had Jalen Brunson on third. I feel like you would have changed that by now, right?
Again, when does the vote? When does it stop? Like, I don't know the timeline. I don't know what the deadline. But yeah,
literally
Jalen
the
Brunson,
last day.
Yeah, I'm not sure how long ago we did this, but
Like a week before the season ended, or maybe
Yeah.
a couple weeks. I don't know.
Yeah, listen, Jalen Brunson, you could argue he could be first team. Like, he's had an unbelievable year. They're still playing, which I think that also matters. Then we get to third team, you see Tyrese Halliburton.
It warps us.
It does. So
Yep.
it kind of distorts our perception of what's happening and when the timetable of when the votes stopped and started. So I don't know that exact date, but Jalen Brunson deserves to be second team.
At the least. Okay, so let's do the third team, shall we? You mentioned Tyrese Halliburton. He's up there. There's your Cade. James Harden, Cat, and Jalen Williams. Is there a surprise here, Lou, that sticks out that you're like, why is this person not on there?
again, I only make my case for Sengun.
Fair.
For him not to make any of these teams is kind of crazy. We got to figure out what are we rewarding again. You know, they were a consistent second seed. He was the best player on that team. He had an all-star year. How does he not make this? How does he not make any of these teams? And so I'll
Like the Rockets got nobody.
Yeah, nobody.
Two
Like,
seed.
and I don't understand that when it's guys that are before and after them in rankings and in seeding that have guys to represent them on one of these three teams. How does he not make any of them? So I don't understand that.
Well, then who comes off, Chandler?
It makes no sense. Think about it. This guy led a 52-win team,
Yeah.
the 2 seed, pretty much all season long. He's the only guy to average 19, 10, and 5 that didn't get it. 3 of the 4 guys made it. He's the 4th. He did not make it. So I think Sengun, you have to have. The reason Donovan Mitchell made first team is because their team was good. And this guy doesn't make any team, and this team
I know.
was good.
Is this a?
That is where it gets tricky. And I know James Harden averaged, what he averaged, 22, 9, and 6. Like, he had a great year. Tyrese Halliburton started off slow, but man, he came on strong, and they're continuing to play great. I think he
You
was
know what
a
this reeks of?
21 and 11 type of guy, but man, I don't know. This is tough.
Harden's almost like a legacy name, right? Like you could not watch any basketball this year and you'd still be like, oh, James Harden. And Sengun, and I feel like the Rockets, maybe people aren't paying attention yet. Maybe they're too young. They're like, we're not there yet. Let's give it a minute.
Again, I think Cade should have been second team.
Kinda
Cat
silly.
can also be second team. Jalen Williams, you can't have a problem with that, how good he's been, the way he defends,
Fair.
does everything. So the 2 guards, and it's not even position. So it doesn't matter that it's a big or whatever.
Exactly.
So I don't want to take anyone off because all these guys had great seasons, but Sengun, I could argue he could have made second team, let alone getting left off third team.
Do you know what I find fascinating, and especially in this year in which we're watching the playoffs against the backdrop of Tyrese Halliburton having been voted the most overrated player in the league? Neither one of you had him on an all-NBA team. There is something to this Halliburton.
It's the start.
thing.
It's the start for me that he had. He really struggled.
Okay.
And again, I think that stuck with us, and I think the Pacers kind of are a team that flew under the radar, that are proving everybody wrong, right? I mean, this team is great. This team is still playing. They have a chance to go to the NBA Finals.
Yeah,
so they
pretty good
obviously
shot.
deserve someone on the team. And what's interesting here is Siakam was an all-star. Halliburton wasn't.
Right.
Halliburton's all-NBA. Siakam's not. So they literally
Which one would you rather have?
I'd rather have Halliburton. I love his game.
No, I'm saying if you're a player.
All NBA is way more impressive, right? And I think you get.
Because money,
Yeah, you get much. Yeah, you get heavily compensated.
cash money.
Well, I've apologized twice. I ain't apologizing no more. All right?
Lose
They deserve an All-NBA player,
Yeah.
and it's Tyrese Halliburton is their
All right.
best player.
Fair enough. By
Yeah.
the way, the money thing is weird. And I used to have a vote in this, and it always made me very, very uncomfortable. And I think it was the year Tatum was up for something, and I was like, it should not be Michelle Beadle's place to affect millions and millions of dollars for a man I don't know. And so you kind of have to do the right thing there. And in this case, both Cade Cunningham and Evan Mobley will earn an extra $45 million. Why you hate this, by the way. I kind of love that you hate it.
And Jaren Jackson, who, by the way,
Correct.
whether you love him or not, he was 10 votes or something off from getting a supermax.
So that is what, $200 million difference?
But what
now?
bothers me is, you know how hyped the Grizzlies are that they don't have to pay him that now, and
That's not right, though, is it?
now, like a Pistons team, them giving Cade an extra 45, 50 million, that hurts them. That hurts their chances of going to get other players. So I think it needs to be treated like a signing bonus for like an NFL player or something.
So
like that.
we looked it up.
Doesn't affect the cap.
The NFL, it does count against the cap, but they
stretched out.
stretch it out over the terms of the deal instead of like, bam, 45 million.
That helps. That helps with it.
makes
But it's just
sense.
weird the idea of that your player was so good for your team the previous year could now hurt the future of your team
It's
by getting so much
counterintuitive.
money. Yeah.
You want the best players on your team,
Like,
but
no-
then you get in trouble.
But how can you fix it? I disagree with the media having
I
so
do too.
much
And, like, yeah, like, again,
influence
these-
on you.
Should never.
Like they can cost you $200 million.
Like
literally.
you had a vote.
Yeah,
back-
I felt very uncomfortable.
and
So I would.
If you're
I would
the
make
reason
sure,
that cost me 150 million,
which is why I would always vote. If I knew what the monies were, what was at stake, then I would always. Because at the end of the day, who cares? I should not have a say in that, nor should the guy on my left and right. So do the right thing. But yes, this Jaren Jackson situation is exactly why I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. $200 million being affected.
And that could
is
just
a
be
problem.
something personally with someone, or like an
100%.
encounter that you had with that reporter that stuck with them that is not fair
Yep.
for your financial status. So this makes no sense.
But
that
what's
media,
the alternative?
I don't think this is the case, but I would love to see what the alternative is.
Yeah, because what is the fix?
Yeah,
We've
I
already
don't-
seen
I don't know-
players
I
vote.
don't know
They
how
You
voted.
also can't do fans either because
no,
that
no,
would
no.
make it even way worse.
That's a popularity
Players, same thing. You see the Tyrese Halliburton's the most overrated player. That's not going to work. 'Cause
So
that's
do you
going to be
have to-
petty votes too.
Like, what is there a way to sort of analytically have a chart where you have to, okay, if this person does.
What is it?
meets
Are we
the-
rewarding winning?
At
Like,
the,
if you have
end
a-
of the day,
don't know.
everybody is affected by everything in this
Sure.
business. Even if you get the fans to do it, there's going to be a problem. You get the coaches to do it, there's going to be a problem. You get the players, media, so on and so forth. There's going to be caveats,
Silver.
no matter which
I
way
like
that you
coaches
go.
doing it, and you can't vote
I
for
like
your own
that better.
players.
Well, you don't, because again, if I'm a coach and I'm being petty and I'm looking at a possible playoff matchup, I'm gonna piss this guy off, and I'm gonna ring his bell and I'm gonna cost him some cheese. Or if I want an
true.
opportunity to go get a guy and I want him to be more affordable for my team, and I can possibly go get him in the offseason, I can rig that up as well. Everybody has something at stake here. There's no easy way to get out of it.
God,
Yeah,
this
there's
is-
pros and cons for all of them. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think here, but there's going to be issues with it, with
Of course there is.
every
but
scenario.
This
but
is weird.
the media aspect,
Don't love it.
why are we getting them involved on people's money? Like,
Now that
Them.
now
First
that
of all,
part I
you're
don't love.
them, by the way.
Now, if it was anything, we could change.
we're media. I don't want to vote. Like this
That's
is
what I'm saying.
It's weird.
It's a very weird
I
vote to
kind
have.
of do, but I don't.
Some things are fun to vote on. This one, I always thought there were
It's
too
fun to
many
vote.
ramifications.
It's not fun to vote when I'm changing your life.
yeah.
Also, this is me just thinking movie script out loud, but who's to say like a media person doesn't come up to somebody here that's up for like a $200 million extension and be like, hey, here's the deal. You're on the bubble right now, and I'm kind of one of the swaying votes.
Yeah.
Give me $10 million, and I'll make
Don't
sure.
put
that
any
this-
ideas out
I'm just,
there.
these are things I think about
No.
in the privacy of my
If I
home.
get an extra 200 to get that, I'm probably
Give
going to
me
listen.
10? All right, see, there you go.
Minimum.
Don't put that out there, man.
I'm putting it out there. And by the
There
way,
you go.
no, it's just something I thought of, and I'm not the only one.
Until
Until it happens. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, John Halliburton has been
He's back.
unleashed.
He's back.
Back into the building tonight. We'll talk about the game coming up later.
But in-
Run it up, run it back.
Guys, who says staring into a camera and pleading with Adam Silver doesn't work? Charles Barkley got it done. John Halliburton will be in attendance at home games in a suite.
In a suite.
When it's sweet, will not be down on the court, and that begins tonight. Right call, wrong call. People are going to have opinions on this.
I think it's the right call. I think he was punished, and what he did was silly. Just keep your ass off the court. I like the idea that he's in a suite now, especially if this is going to be a closing scenario, which obviously it's not. But if he can't be courtside again for a series
Ever.
closing, going to the finals with his son, he's too passionate. He can't do it. But I like that they're letting it back. Come on, this guy's son is on a heater right now. He's leading his team to possibly
It's
the
a tough
NBA
call,
finals.
though.
Let him watch.
wrong call.
Long, yeah,
Yo,
Lou
you
doesn't
hate
like
it?
it. Lou hates
I
it.
don't hate it. I think it's the wrong call. I think you're opening the door for the wrong type of thing. Like if you're another casual fan and you're thinking, so now I can come on the floor and I can only get 8 games and I can come back. If this was anybody else, this is a lifetime ban.
Dang.
Right? And we know that, but Mr. Halliburton, he's entertaining. He's been fun for ratings, and he's been fun and exciting to watch the run that his son is going on. But I think he stepped up, he crossed the line, and there has to be a punishment in crossing that line. And I think, listen,
forever or just the rest of the season?
I don't think for the rest of the season.
Okay.
Let everything die down, and you can have your seats back next year. But you have to set an example. The NBA sets an example with everything else, right? And so again, when you have a guy that has a personal interaction with a player inside of the confines of the lines of the game, that's a violation, and you got to stand firm on that violation. I'm also a father as well. I love to see him back in the stands. I love to see him being able to be there and support his son. But again, you have to set an example for things to come. It's a lot of supportive dads out there. That doesn't give them carte blanche to just go on the court and have their interactions that they have.
It's a good point, because now you're setting the precedent that it doesn't, if you're related or if you're a family member, you have different rules. I know, but he's his dad. He made him. So can Jokic's brother go on the court?
By the way, we haven't seen the brothers since
the brothers, T. Morant. It's a bunch of fathers and it's a bunch of family that are part of these games as is, based on their presence at these games. Can you imagine if Jokic brothers stepped inside the lines and had something to say to a guy? Can you imagine a T. Morant being on the court having an interaction with guy? They have a problem with him having interactions off the court with people. So can you imagine the precedent that you're setting by allowing
this? The sweet helps, doesn't it?
And tonight,
sweet helps.
Yeah, sweet helps.
Let's have an over-under. They're going to show him on camera 8 to 10 times.
They really
tonight.
shouldn't, though.
But
they're
really
going to show him more than Taylor Swift at the Chiefs game tonight.
But they are, and that's my problem. Based on your relationship with this guy, this is son, obviously.
I mean, you can hide in a suite, though. Like, you can be in the back.
Well, if that's the case, obviously that's not the case, because we're sitting here talking about it right now. He's going to be shown on camera 6 to 10 times within this game. You're making him a part of the game. I don't love it.
Also, like, if Giannis is a Buck next year, can he go to the Bucks-Pacers game next year against him?
Can we just deal with that when we get to it?
But you know what I mean? Like, it is an interesting point, because this a normal, average fan, not a father of a player, this would most likely be a lifetime ban.
Well, yeah, but you didn't make the human that's on the floor. Like, I do think there's some leeway.
That doesn't give you...
I agree.
If Giannis is... Swap Bobby Portis.
Okay.
And he punches him in the face. Think about it.
Swap him with any other guy that has a different temperament. We don't know Giannis to be confrontational, and they had a confrontation. Imagine a guy that we're used to. Put Russell Westbrook in that position.
Yeah, he gets
anybody. And I think Giannis's reaction to not do something like that is what is helping this. But if he did happen to react or push him or punch him or fight him, then I think we're talking about obviously a lifetime ban, because then there was an altercation, which Giannis, credit to him, he handled it very, very.
By the way.
Yeah, it just put Pops in a position where, it puts the player in a position that you don't want to have this confrontation with. But
I also feel for Tyrese,
or anybody else.
But also, like, I
had it perfectly.
I had courtside seats. My parents sat there. My dad never went on the court. Like,
okay, well, your dad's a saint. What do you want me to say?
No, but that's just unacceptable.
Same for my family.
I get it.
I had floors as well. I can't imagine somebody in my family doing that as a representation of me, and.
I like to think you learned a lesson.
I love the fact that Tyrese said, he overstepped the bound. We had a conversation about it, and he was wrong.
Tyrese is embarrassed a little bit.
I love that, but as far as the NBA goes, you got to stand on this, and you got to say, hey, Pops, next year.
By the way, you guys know I believe in jinxes and all that stuff, right? And I was thinking to myself, if the Pacers had won Game 3, I don't think John Halliburton goes back into the building. But the fact that they lost Game 3, I think there's like an energy switch.
Well, we are in the sports entertainment business.
Right? I think there's something
So we're getting sparks.
By the way, who are we getting tonight? No one, just outright. Who's winning? Got like 20 seconds.
I like the Knicks. I really do. I like the Knicks. I think they tie it up tonight.
Will?
Give me Andy.
You've had enough bullying, cyberbullying.
Cyberbullying, the best. I'm not picking. I'm just going to enjoy the game.
Boo.
All right, let's see.
That's
Hopefully it's a good one. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Run it back, run it up, run it back, yeah.